Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy this midweek episode. We'll be looking at a few things on the forums, mainly revolving around PvP, and going over if I agree with these points, if I disagree, what's stupid about them, what's good about them, you know, everything in between. So, let's get straight into it. I have a few things that I've picked out here. Now, some of these are very short points, but there's a lot to talk about with them. So, solo shuffle queue times is the first one. Played for 1.5 hours last night and sat in queue for 40 minutes of that time. How about implementing a method to make queues faster? I don't pay $15 a month to sit in a queue for 50% of my playtime. Sitting in a 20 to 30 minute queue is not very enjoyable and is less enjoyable when some loser leaves after 2 to 3 losses because they have the ego of Kanye West. Now, I agree that the queue times are very bad. I'm not saying that they aren't. I'm not saying that it's not frustrating. I'm saying that it is frustrating and that the queue times are very bad. What I am going to say though is it's because the lack of player base willing to heal. Now, healing in solo shuffle is, in my honest opinion, more enjoyable than DPSing, but I don't main healer, I main DPS. So, me jumping on an ult healer, I'm very relaxed about the whole situation, whereas if the healer is my main, I'm going to be a bit more uptight and, annoyed about certain things that happen within the game. But I can take the view of it as, it's just an ult, whereas other people can't. Now, if a lot more people were to heal, these queue times for any sort of DPS in any sort of bracket will reduce. Now, obviously, you have certain brackets that are going to be a lot longer queue times. You have the rank 1 sort of brackets where it's, 27, 28, and anything above 2400, you're looking at a usually more longer queue time. Now, this is to be expected as there is a lot less people around this bracket level. Therefore, there's a lot less people that can be in your games. And that also equates to healers. So let's say you have 1,000 healers in solo shuffle and there's 20,000 DPS, yeah? What's going to happen? You need 2 healers in your game and 4 DPS. So for every 4 DPS that you have in your game, 2 healers are gone. Yeah, that means that you're going to have an excess of DPS just waiting in queue, waiting for them healers to be done with their game, and then they queue up, and you get them healers who have already played a game. Okay? Now, this obviously, depends on your bracket. If you are anywhere between 1,000 and 2,000 rating, you probably have about 900 of these healers. Yeah? 2,000 rating plus, you're going to have 100 of these healers out of the 1,000. So it's going to be even more sort of difficult to get healers in your solo shuffle games because, simply put, they might not be wanting to play another game after they've finished that solo shuffle. They might just be done with World of Warcraft for the day. They might just be doing one shuffle a day. Many different aspects of it. But the way that you want to reduce your queue time is to roll a healer. Roll a healer. Do it. Re-roll a class that can heal, and if you are really desperate about just playing the game, then you can simply log onto a healer and do solo shuffle. This means that you get to experience how the other side of that solo shuffle, feels. Because yes, I enjoy healer because of the queue times of solo shuffle. I'm usually on a boomkin that's very high rated, and my shuffle queue times are probably around the 40-minute mark as well. I can probably say that it's around 20 to 40 minutes, anywhere in between that. If I get one sub 20 minutes, then I am really lucky. That's it, really. If you want to experience it, re-roll a healer. Then you will not have queue time problems. If this is your only concern, you will not have queue time problems. If you are wanting to play your specific class, so let's say on my druid, I'm only wanting to play my boomkin, then I'm at 2,500, we'll say, around MMR, as that's where I generally end up at the end of the season. I have queue times of about 30 to 40 minutes. And I either have to accept this because I know that there's a lack of healers, And there's a lack of healers due to good reason, whether they just don't want to play, they're frustrated, they're just not playing at the moment because, you know, they don't have to always play solo shuffle every time they log in, or you sit there and complain. But you also have a lot of other things to do. You can go around, do some world quests, you can do some PvE, you can go in old raids, get some mogs, you can do many different things. I'm currently doing I forget the name of the achievement, but the one where you get the Taven mount. So I need to do a lot of things around the Dragon Isles. So I've got that to keep me sort of going whilst I'm in any sort of queue for whether it be 3v3 arena or solo shuffle, anything like that. But if you are someone who complains about queue time, re-roll a healer. Okay? Re-roll a healer, then you will have instant queue times and there's nothing to complain about, right? And then what most of the people will do is be like, oh my god, healing in solo shuffle is awful. And it's like, yeah, that's why you have long queue times, because people don't want to heal in solo shuffle. Like, it's absolutely crazy. It's a cycle of just endless stupidity sometimes. Like, I get that sitting in the queue can be frustrating, but there is an algorithm that says, okay, this person is in a queue. It is what it is, a queue. You are the 10th person in line, and there's only 4 DPS that can go in a game, okay? The first 4 DPS go in, that's fine. They come out, you are now 6th in line. The next 4 DPS go in, that's fine. They come out, you're 2nd in line. So you're in the next 4 DPS to go into a solo shuffle, okay? That's what it is, a queue. And just because there's a lack of healers, because if I had to guess, I would say about either 30-70 or 20-80% of solo shuffle is healers / DPS. So healers like the 30%, DPS is the 70%. And I think that's kind of being generous, in my honest opinion. So yeah, if you're worried about queue times, simply go on a healer and test it out, because I assure you, you'll have more enjoyment like just getting into the game and playing the game, rather than waiting 40 minutes and standing in Valdrakken doing nothing. It's one of them things, like, you're complaining because there's a lack of healers, so grab the problem by the scruff of the neck and try it out. At least try it out. If you don't enjoy it, that's fair enough. But if you haven't at least tried it out, then I don't know what to say to you. You have to wait your time, all right? There's nothing much more to it. Next one. This one's very short, but I do want to address it. If I was a rep, or it's Marksman Hunter is the title. If I was a rep paladin, it would have been nerfed 3 times by now. If you are honestly defending this class, you are part of the problem. Now, what they're referring to is the damage that Marksman Hunter can output. Now, don't get me wrong, Marksman Hunter does a lot of fucking damage. A lot of damage. It's all they're good at, essentially. Well, traps-wise and stuff. Their weakness comes from their survivability. You can train down a Marksman Hunter, and they don't have a lot to answer for it. Now, survival hunters are a bit more durable. BM hunters do their damage kind of passively. MM hunters need to stand there and cast their aim shots and stuff to get their damage out. Plus, you can line them. Now, I don't think that the way that they've buffed hunters is the way to go about it. Over the past few patches that they have released, like for class tuning, I think they slowly buffed a Marksman Hunter, but they buffed their damage. Only their damage, nothing else. And I think that that's where hunters don't need buffing, MM specifically. I think hunters' damage is completely fine. I think it's their survivability that, in some specs, needs to be looked at. Especially when it comes to pets, because I feel like pets can die quite easily, and if you lose your pet as a hunter, you lose a lot of your toolkit, which isn't great. It really isn't great. So I can understand his frustration to an extent, but the difference between a rep paladin and the hunter is a rep paladin doing a hunter's damage would be busted, would be extremely busted, mainly due to the fact that rep paladins have a bubble immunity, have a wall, have a shield of vengeance, have a bop or 2, or even a spell bop, have multiple different things to slow down the target, whether it be stun, they have a freedom, they have a cavalier to catch up. Now, admittedly, these are very smaller cooldowns, the freedom and cavalier, and they can be kited. Well, I say can be kited. They are also a ranged class at this point of the game, which is ridiculous and shouldn't be. But the Paladin is a lot more sustainable now. And that was the problem that they had back in Dragonflight Season 1, that they just weren't sustainable at all, and they were the punching bags for whatever comp they went up against, essentially. So there's the reason why Ret would have been nerfed. Hunters have Exhilaration, they have a Turtle, and they have Roar's Sacrifice, and Feign Death, in fairness. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy that people can't see that point of view. Like, the damage is still ludicrous for Hunters. I think you got to nerf the damage of them, but give them a bit more, survivability, or a bit more, just durability in some way. I don't know how you'd go about it, but that's what I would go with. Ellie Shaman is the same, I think, because you're just jumping around, not casting anything, spamming Lava Burst and Earth Shock, and it's crazy. And they're still thing is, Ellie Shaman is still relatively tanky. When it comes to, they have a leap, they have astral, they have burrow, they have healing streams, they have earth shields. Passively they're a male wearing class, so they're going to be resistant against sort of physical attacks. So many different things that you can compare them to. But yeah, hunters do need a nerf. Hunters damage needs a nerf, I should say, to be more specific. But you got to give them something in return, because I don't think that their survivability is up there with what everyone else is. If anything, I would like everyone to be on the level of Hunter survivability. That's what I would like, because that way everyone's susceptible to dying, but I would still reduce the Hunter's damage a bit and bring everyone else's damage down to that sort of level. That way the healers are the main source of how you survive in an arena, and that's, in my opinion, how it should be. I'm not going to lie, but that's just my take on that matter. This one I'm very interested in. Add-ons need to be removed from the game. Add-ons are cheating, and they play the game for you by causing bells, whistles, text prompts. All you have to do is press the button one step away from being a bot. No other game has this, and it makes player versus player not real. It's player and their bot versus other player and their bot. We need to have better colours for abilities, or more obvious triggers of cooldowns, and then remove the add-ons. Now, firstly, in the War Within, they are actually changing how certain things look. They're changing how the slows look. So I'm pretty sure, like Hamstring, Crippling Poison. What other slows? Chains of Ice, maybe, but Chains of Ice is very, you can see it. But they are making that visual more impactful and be able, or visual, which is really, really good. So that's already addressed that problem. As for add-ons need to be removed, I am a big fan of this. I think it can go both ways. I think you either give everyone a certain amount of add-ons that they are allowed to use or have active in an arena, whether it be up to 3, I would say, 3 maximum, or you just simply have nothing. Now, I'm very much an advocate for having nothing. I think that this allows you to play the game a bit more. This allows for the higher end players to be a lot more, I don't know, it makes it a bit more sort of unpredictable, because he is right. Whenever you have a weak aura pack that just blares out a whistle for you when someone presses something, you immediately, your trigger response, because it's, been sort of driven into you over the past several patches, has been, okay, I need to port, or I need to Shadow Word Death this trap, or I need to, do something, based on this noise that you're hearing. Now, I think what he's saying is you're one step away from being a bot. I'm not too sure that's true, because you're still playing the game, and those at a higher level still have a much better understanding of what is happening. If you had to put someone who's an AWC team against someone who's 1500 team, the AWC team wins so easily, it's unreal. But if they have the same add-ons, they still win so easily. So it's not about you versus your bot and them versus their bot. If they have the exact same add-ons, the players still matter, quite heavily. You aren't a bot, you're just reacting to certain prompts that you know, and they're just better at reacting and understanding how these prompts interact with your character and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing and all of that stuff. So I don't know. Look, I'm all very much for add-ons need to be removed from the game, but I think in order to do that, you need to improve the base arena UI. The one that they gave us is a good start, but you need to add, I think, a simple trinket tracker and a racial tracker. That's it. So Shadow Meld, Every Man for Himself, the Dwarven racials, Troll racials, all of them essentially. And I think you're good. I genuinely think you add that and make the base arena UI like Omni CC or Omni CD, no, not Omni CD, like Gladius or something, and you're good. You don't have them tracking cooldowns or anything. You simply just have the UI with their health bar, their trinket, and that's it. And I think that's what should happen. And then it's simply just you're not allowed to have any add-ons apart from UI add-ons. Okay, because I know people like to have their UIs differently. If people want their UIs to look different or a certain way, that's fine. That wouldn't impact anyone's sort of, give them an edge at all. It's stuff like weak auras and Omni CD and stuff that allow people to, be a bit more quicker with their decision making in arenas because they give a lot more information. So that's my honest opinion. I think that add-ons definitely need to be removed. I just think that if they were to do it, they would need more of a baseline like UI setup in replacement so that when they do take the add-ons away, you're not stuck with some, outdated Blizzard UI stuff that, just simply isn't good enough for the level of caliber that we have now, like in World of Warcraft. So that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check out all of the socials down below. Constant stuff happening over there. But thank you all very much once again. And go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.